Hi, and welcome to 10 by 6. Lovely to see you both. Hi.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi. So for the viewers, it's a big welcome to Henrietta and Grafton. So Henrietta Nicolet is co-secretary and Grafton Straker is the co-chair of Stand Up to Racism Dorset. So thank you very, very much, both of you, for giving up the time to have a chat with us for 10 by 6 today. So as we've heard, I want to chat with you about the MP for Dorset, for South Dorset, Conservative MP Richard Drax, and his ownership, his family's historical ownership of the Drax Hall estate in Barbados, and the calls on him to relinquish ownership of that and enter into a conversation about that. Grafton, if I start with you, you actually grew up in Barbados before travelling the world and so forth. Tell us a little bit about that. What was life like for you growing up in Barbados? I'm fascinated.
Hello, Tom.
Hi.
Thanks for interviewing me. Growing up in Barbados is, as you know, Barbados is a lovely little island. It used to be called Little England in my youth. Nice, beautiful place. In my teens, when I was growing Barbados, I see people cutting sugar cane, and I used to see the white man on a horseback, but I didn't realize that at that time it was still slavery still going on in Barbados. As I said, we wasn't told this in school. It's only as I get older and realize what was going on in Barbados that I see slavery was still happening in Barbados, and this was in the 60s and 70s, which I thought slavery was abolished. I didn't realize it was still going on until I read about it, and then it come to the fore that Richard Drax was still having slave work in the plantation in Barbados. And Richard Drax was one of the richest family in England. So
when you say slavery, I mean, obviously, back in the day, people were stolen from their lands to work in Barbados. Modern forms of slavery are sort of exploitation in terms of being paid very, very low wages and not treated well. Is that the case?
Well, yeah, it was, the wages wasn't that well paid. I know a family that used to work on the plantation, and it wasn't really well paid. And in those days, cutting sugar cane is very hard labor and back breaking. And you used to see these people doing it. I was still a teenager then, so I was going to school and playing sports and whatnot. But I didn't realize that it was still slavery in my country, and we was never taught in school about it, which I find it very disappointing.
I understand you say that it was a little bit of a hushed up. The whole issue of the history of slavery in Barbados was kind of hushed up. It wasn't something that was spoken about much in school. Is that the case?
That's correct. And you think in school they would teach you a history about slavery, and slavery is only coming to light now about Richard Drax.
Yeah. So the Drax family were heavily involved right from the start to right to the end of slavery, including in Barbados, and in particular in Barbados. Can you tell us a bit about what that meant for the people that were enslaved?
Well, you had the Drax family. I think Barbados had about 10 plantations. So it wasn't only Richard Drax, but some of the other plantations was handed back to the government of Barbados. And as I said, I'm surprised that in this day and age that Richard Drax is still having that plantation in Barbados instead of handing it over back to the government of Barbados.
Yeah. And where did the people, the people that worked on the plantation to create vast profits, where did they originate from?
Well, I presume they're always from Barbados. Well, some used to come from Barbados. You used to get some coming over from St. Vincent to cut sugar cane for the plantation. So it's like exploitation. that was going on in Barbados.
And
This was
people
the
were
60s, 70s.
right, and you know, going back to the days of actual slavery on the plantation, so people were stolen from their lands in Africa. The various countries, probably on the west coast of Africa or the east coast.
I presume that's where they come from. Yeah.
Yeah. And we understand that around 30,000 slaves died over a couple of 100-year period that the plantation ran.
Yeah.
We know a little from historical documents now about conditions they were, you know, that they were held in, how they were treated. Can you describe that a little bit for us, Grafton?
Well, I can't say I see them mistreated, but I presume they were mistreated, and there have to be burial grounds in some of these plantations.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to excavate the land to see how many, if there's any bodies around these plantations in Barbados.
I know that you mentioned elsewhere recently that, you know, they've just discovered hundreds and hundreds of bodies in Canada, haven't they, in a similar situation, and that may even be the case at places like the Drax estate in Barbados. They may uncover a lot of skeletons.
Yeah, it has to be the case. And as Lalu just said, there will be bodies there. You just need to excavate the land.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice for Mr. Drax to hand the land back over to the people of Barbados.
Absolutely, Grafton. Well, with that in mind, let me come to you, Henny. Tell us a bit. Could you tell the viewers a little bit about the campaign for slavery justice, sort of generally, and in specific relation to Drax and Drax Hall?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me on. I believe that the issue of reparations almost takes on a new kind of urgency as an emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement that really proliferated in summer of 2020. I think there, you know, is what we can see, especially with Drax, is that there is a global cause for reparation in where we can see a direct, grotesque manifestation from slave ownership into the position of power that he's in today. That's, you know, that's a direct correlation that has since had such beyond damaging consequences for example, in the people to the people of Barbados. I think as well, what is interesting in the case of Drax is that when he's asked, you know, about his past, about his family's ancestry, he says, and quoted, like, he chooses to ignore it. And I think that response, as up until I think 2020, has been a response that the United Kingdom has kind of taken on. As I believe it's, you know, echoed in their education systems, in institutions, like that echoes the sentiment. I believe that the UK in particular was very effective at racial gaslighting. And I think when we call for reparations, we are confronting this and saying that it's enough. Yeah, so Richard Drax is the owner of 15,000 acres in Dorset, but also of the Drax Hall estate, which is one of the largest sugar plantations in the Caribbean, 621 acres, which he is still profiting off till today, which I would say is, if anyone was to ask the question as to why this is important now, is, yeah, I think we have to remember that this is still profitable and he is still making money off this sugar plantation today.
Yeah, and historically, his family, for those that don't know, his ancestor John Earl Drax, at the end of slavery and sort of emancipation, 1836, his ancestor John Earl Drax was paid compensation for having to give up ownership of human beings, 189 human beings that he owned, and he was paid compensation, which of course was paid, as I say, to the slave owners, not to the slaves. Extraordinary. The compensation he was paid was £4,293, 12 shillings and sixpence, which has been estimated to equate to about £3 million in today's money. It was a vast fortune. And that money, of course, has gone into the Drax family, their estate in Dorset, and their ownership of other land and so forth, and their wealth over the years. So this call, this campaign for slavery justice and for the people of Barbados, what's it sort of asking Drax to do in relation to the estate in Barbados? Any?
I mean, we're purely asking to, ignite a conversation with him. We want, to engage. We want him to engage in dialogue with the people of Barbados who are asking for the return of this estate. Yeah.
So engaging with the Barbadian government and the people to look at paying reparations by returning the estate to the people there. Yeah. Wow, fabulous. Okay, Grafton. So if that happened, if Mr. Drax entered into conversation and decided to relinquish ownership of the Drax Hall estate, what would you say that would mean for the people of Barbados, and how would it be utilised?
Well, if he handed the land, or when he handed the land or the plantation back to the people of Barbados, well, the people of Barbados utilise the land. They can make the plantation into a museum and let the people of Barbados work the land, and let the government do what they want to do with the land or the plantation of Barbados. We don't want Drax to keep on profiting from sugarcane in Barbados. Slavery finished years and years, billions years ago. It's about time rich Mr. Drax get out of Barbados and give the land back to the people of Barbados.
Indeed, and one of the sort of slogans of the campaign is "Time's up, Mr. Drax."
Time's up, Mr. Drax. Time's up. Yeah. 621 acres, hand it back.
So the people and government of Barbados have suggested that the land, as you say, the land could be used by the people, to pay decent wages, and the profits from the sugar estate can be utilised by the Barbadian government, and the actual house there, the Drax Hall, can be used as a museum to educate people about the history of slavery and so forth.
Yeah.
So how would, if the profits of the plantation went to the Barbadian government, the Barbadian people, how would that be used to benefit them? What's an alternative to it going into the pockets of Richard Drax?
Well, it goes to the government and the people of Barbados, or the government of Barbados, to get the people to work the land, and the people of Barbados benefit from that plantation. I mean, like, you can build houses for people in Barbados on that land. Some people still have 4 houses in Barbados. Mr. Drax is still making money from that land. He's making enough money from Parliament in this country that he's not declaring. So hand the land back over to the people of Barbados. Let the people of Barbados work the land, agriculture the land for themselves, and let the government make the land profitable for the people of Barbados.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you. And just finally focusing on an event next Saturday, the 17th of July. There's a big event planned outside Drax's ancestral estate in Dorset. So, Henny, tell us a bit. What's happening and why?
Yep. So on Saturday, at 11:30, there will be a rally outside the Scarborough estate, at which he resides. So we will assemble at 11:30 at Winterbourne, Zelston, and we will walk alongside the wall before we reach a gate. And we have, in fact, actually asked Mr. Drax to meet us to engage in conversation. Whether or not he'll show is another story. It's a completely safe route that has been mapped out. And we will peacefully rally with a range of speakers, and we will then return to the assembly point, where we will there will be music played that has been written specifically for the event. And it's inside, the event will be live streamed alongside the Toll Puddle Martyrs Festival. If there's anyone who wishes to come, there will be a coach running in Dorset that goes from Portland to Weymouth and through Dorchester. If anyone is interested in getting a ticket for the coach, you're able to contact reparationriders@gmail.com, where you can make contact and organise a ticket. We encourage everyone to come. Yeah, it would be great to see as many people there as possible.
Fantastic, and yeah, it's going to be live streamed as part of the Toll Puddle Martyrs Festival this year, and also, as you say, and also some hoping to be joined by politicians representing the government and people of Barbados via some sort of live link as well, which is fantastic. It's amazing. Yeah, so well, thanks for that, Henny. Hopefully that's you know, made people have a think about learning more about it, maybe even coming along next Saturday. It's described as a family-friendly event. The route, the small route for the walk, it's only a short 5-minute walk, and it's as Henny said, it's a safe route away from roads and traffic. So yeah, do think of coming along. So well, I'd like to thank both of you, Grafton, Henrietta. Thank you so much for joining us and letting us know all about the campaign for slavery justice, and let's hope the event next Saturday is a big success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.